Welcome to Nerd Street!
Nerd Street!
Yeah!
Today we're going to be talking about video games. Nick and I are both avid video gamers, as I'm sure many of you are. Nick's more of a console gamer, I'm a PC gamer, but we wanted to talk about...
But we're still friends.
Oh yeah, even though, you know, he's got the substandard platform there.
Even though he's going little, I'm going big, you know. Video games.
But we're going to talk about what our personal favorite video games are, or have ever been. It might not be new games or not. We might even talk about, you know, because I've got several that I play all the time on a kind of a rotating basis.
One I should have never showed him. I showed him this one game and he like is the master at it now. I can't even keep up with him.
So, should I start or do you want to start?
You know, let's have you start.
Okay.
Save the best for last, you know.
Of course, yeah. My favorite of all time, and it's an old game and a new game because there have been so many different iterations.
Okay.
But I have to go with the Civilization series.
Wow.
Which
you're smart, huh?
They're on Civilization 6 now, and I started playing the first Civilization when I was in high school.
Can I ask what kind of game that is?
Sure. Yeah, in fact, it would make sense for me to explain. Civilization is a turn-based strategy and kingdom building game. So essentially you start as in like the year 2000 BC with a little covered wagon and a warrior guarding you, and you place a city somewhere on this landscape, and then you start developing workers to cultivate the land and mine minerals or cut wood or whatever. You send your warrior out to explore, and you meet other civilizations, and as time goes on you discover technologies, and you go from this very primitive civilization all the way up through there's several different conditions you can satisfy to win. You can domination victory, you can conquer all the other civilizations on the planet. Space victory, if you're the first...
is this multiplayer or all AI against?
It can be either one.
Either one, okay.
Yeah, you can play single player against AI, or you can play with other players and have other players be the other civilization. Now, a fun thing about Civilization that started Civ 1 and as a mistake, and they've kept all the way through, is one of the civilizations is Gandhi leading India.
Yeah.
Now, in the coding, there's a level of how likely a world leader, a civilization is AI, how likely they are to use nukes. Okay,
so every civilization could use nukes?
Potentially, yes.
Wow, that's cool.
Now, originally with Gandhi, the coding was supposed to have him, because he's a pacifist, was supposed to be 1. But there was a mistake in the coding, and it was put in the first one as 11. So Gandhi would nuke everybody. So
it sounds like him.
Even though it was a mistake, the developers have kept that all the way through. So even today, Gandhi is
cool.
nuke happy.
Oh, that's okay. So it was a mistake that stayed as a cool stain. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, you know, that's my favorite. You know, it's not like it's a lot of cool animation, although the graphics have updated and the game dynamics have updated throughout the years. They've incorporated how religion spreads and loyalty of your cities and things like that. But through the 6 iterations of Civilization over the past 30 years, I've probably put in 5,000 hours of gameplay.
Damn. And he picks only Napoleon.
Right.
Now, can I ask you this?
Yeah.
You've talked about the mechanics of the game. That sounds really cool and interesting. Why do you like it? Why do you have to play it? What do you like about it yourself? What gets you going?
I just like those type of games. It's discovery and growth and domination. You know, I'm not the type. I'm not a big into like first-person shooters. Go around, shoot everybody, and
gets old.
Right. You know, I've played my fair share of those, and they can be fun. But I don't want to do that for thousands of hours.
No.
Civilization.
Leave that to the kids that are still in high school with packs of Mountain Dew next to them.
Right.
You know, yeah. My dog tag, gamer tag, is Nintendo. So everyone that has an Xbox out there, hit me up. Let's play. I'm going to move on to my favorite game now. Thanks for sharing, sir. Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII is a beautiful, crafted RPG from Japan, from a company called Squaresoft, who's still making great games. Making games today. I'm not going to say great.
How many Final Fantasies have there been? Like, don't they have?
So now they're on. They just had 15. So that 15 just finished. And what they do is they come out with like 14 subsidiary games connected to the main title. So there'll be like Final Fantasy 15 Part 2, Final Fantasy 15 Part 3, so on and so forth. It's hard to keep up. But Final Fantasy 7 was different. It had a really dark setting. I remember it came out on PlayStation 1, and it was 3 discs. Yeah, it was 3 discs. So you'd open up the case, and there's 3 discs. You play one for about 40, 50 hours, and it tells you when to insert the next disc, and so on and so forth. Those were back in the day when you had to use memory cards to save, too. I don't know if all the young whippersnappers remember that.
Back in my day, I used to save with this.
But no, let's talk more about the game. Cast of characters was awesome. I remember that the protagonist Cloud was awesome. He had the cool spiky blonde anime hair, and Dragon Ball Z was big then, and I wasn't a Dragon Ball fan, but I remember that's kind of what sold on the cover. And then once everyone bought it and looked under the hood, got into the game, the meat and potatoes, it just took over. One of the best-selling games of all time.
Is that the one with the guy with the big gun with the giant knife on it?
Yeah. No, that's 8. This one is just a huge sword. It's like the size of a car. I got to bring up that a big reason why I love this game is in '97 I moved to Hawaii, moved with my grandparents, and I remember I had a hard time making friends first year there in high school. I was freshman. And I remember Final Fantasy VII was there to keep my mind busy and not me worried about making friends and getting me through the year and the new classes and really acclimating me to my new home.
I don't need new friends. I got Final Fantasy.
Nerd! Nerd streak! I remember bringing the instruction book to the game to school. And I finished my work early, so in class I spent the last 10 minutes reading the Final Fantasy book. And I remember when I was reading it, I got a tap on my shoulder. And at the time, I didn't know the kid, but he would later on become my best friend. Japanese named Josh Lospak. Lospak isn't a Japanese last name, so I still can't figure out this one to this day, and we were too young to care when we were younger. But he, it's funny because Japanese love RPGs. You know, they created the damn genre, basically. So he was really interested in becoming my friend because he's never seen a Caucasian liking JRPGs from overseas. So we hit it off real good. I didn't know how to play. He had to teach me basic elements like when you fight a machine, use lightning attack. When you're fighting a water monster, use fire. And I'm like, oh, you're so smart. I get it now. So I started getting good at games, and he was the reason that I started getting more into overseas Japanese titles.
I know a lot of people who love the Final Fantasy series. I've actually never played a Final Fantasy game. And now here's the thing, you'd think after the first one should have been the Final Fantasy. When they come later, the first one isn't final
It's
anymore.
not final anymore.
You know, they should
True
rename
that.
that one the 15th from the Final Fantasy.
It's like a paradox, right?
Right, exactly.
man,
So,
what the
you know,
heck?
it's just, what are you gonna do? But I mean, I know a lot of people love Final Fantasy. There's T-shirts and posters and swag and cosplays of the people.
Tattoos everywhere people have.
Yeah, so it's definitely huge.
Cultural hit.
So, well, we got to that pretty quick, so we could probably do some runner-ups.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right.
Okay, can I give a runner-up or you want to start? All right, my runner-up, I got to bring this up right away, Metroid Prime for the GameCube, a very underrated system. You guys remember Metroid, it was a 2D side-scroller for those of you who game, and I remember a little company called Retro Studios outside of Texas, which was a small group of guys hand-picked by Nintendo themselves to make Metroid for the first time from 2D, like Mario, into a first-person shooter. They succeeded, they did great, the formula was amazing. I remember the first game to go from first person to third person on the fly, which was crazy, and it was really deep, still felt like a 2D Metroid, even though it was first person. What's one of yours?
Well, the one that I play the most today is Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight.
That's the one he turned me on to, and now I'm addicted to it. I play several hours every single night. What Dead by Daylight is, it's what's that called? Not unilateral.
It's like a sandbox.
Well, not sandbox, but
No,
it's not equal. It's one killer versus 4 survivors. And the killer is supposed to be super powered, although these days the survivor is the strategy and stuff. Well, I digress. But the 4 survivors you're all on this map. The killer is trying to kill the survivors. The survivors are trying to repair 5 of 7 generators to power the exit gate so they can get out. Now these killers, some of them are original content, like they're just releasing a new one, which is a clown, which is so cool and evil looking and whatever. And each killer has special powers and stuff, but they've also got licensed killers, so you can play as Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers, or who's one of the other
Michael Myers,
licensed...
Freddy Krueger. They got the Saw, the pig
Yes,
from
the
Saw.
pig from Saw. So it's cool. They keep keeping the game fresh and adding new elements, and I'm so addicted to this game.
He got good, y'all. He got really good. I can't believe it. He's like top ranked, the farthest you can go.
I as a survivor, I got to rank 1, although then they changed the rules of how you rank up, and I struggled a little bit with that. But so I haven't hit rank 1 yet. But that's my current addiction.
Yeah.
Is Dead by Daylight.
I want to say something about DBD. I started playing it, had to tell him about it, but I want you guys to know, if you give it a shot, it's really fun. The fact that you're a survivor versus a killer. Now, if you're a survivor, it's really hide behind trees, crawl, go slowly, work together, everyone shh, you can hear the killer. That whole dynamic really gets you into the game. And then when you're the killer, you get kind of happy because you're like, where are these little runts at? I'm going to stab all of them. And it's like little rats running everywhere, and you're chasing them, and they're blocking your path with crates and running, and you're trying to break them, and well, I almost broke the table. You're trying to break them, and you're trying to get to the survivors. So just to add a little oomph, like it's fun. It gets me going. Just don't play against him, you'll lose.
If you want to see some really good examples of gameplay, there's a lot of YouTubers that are really entertaining. They stream their games. One is called True Talent. He's on, but he's got some ones in there, or whatever. So I don't. But
True
look
Talent,
up True Talent.
Tide
Time, Tydyetime, and probably my favorite is Hybrid Panda. He's this English guy, and
mixed with a panda. He's a hybrid.
Right. He gets so into it, and he's like, "Come here, so I can chop your face off." And he doesn't.
So he watches horror films and probably likes them.
Right. He doesn't often stream live where like he's got his face on the picture as well, but a couple times he does, and I think he looks like a young Simon Pegg.
He does.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. So check their channels out. I watch their stuff all the time, and since you're
check
here on
ours
YouTube,
first,
and check ours first, right? But check those guys out. Give them some love. If you're a video gamer, check out these games that we
give us some
about.
honorable mentions.
Yeah. Let us know what
missed.
some of your favorites are. We're always looking to check out new games.
And we're always down to game with y'all. So if you guys have a PC, hit him up, and if you have a console, hit me up.
Right. So yeah, I am looking at possibly getting an Xbox so I can, because I want to play games like State of Decay 2.
Yeah.
I found out not only you've got the Xbox, but a couple of my friends play that. I just got to get the cheddar together to do it.
Yep.
The big thing is I bought an $1,100 computer to play games so that I would never have to buy another console.
Gotcha.
So
that's smart, but all your friends are doing it.
Actually, all my friends are PC gamers. Only a select few that live in the dark ages still play.
All the cool ones.
So, thanks for watching.
Leave
your
everybody.
comments.
Subscribe,
hit that like button. Subscribe. Check out those other channels we talked about. And
wait, what kind of force is it though? X-Force, baby.
Peace.
No.